I'm in the cheat sheet. I'm in the cheat sheet today.
It's a fact in itself, but because there's light coming in on the other side, they would take that into account.
That's good. It's kind of worked out well because everyone fits in. Yeah, there's just one more gap. I think that should be right.
So who's coming back?
They're all coming back. They're all doing one, but it's going to be spread over. So we've got Nathan, Danny, we've got one lay service, Rachel, Led, David, Mark Solomon.
Right.
He's the last one. Mark Solomon's doing
So
fine.
we invite everyone back, basically.
Everyone back.
To avoid any favouritism, to avoid any kind of hurt feelings.
Normally like to have more than one, but it's just not possible.
Yeah.
Are you having Rachel again?
Yes.
Excellent.
All big, all. But they want to, this like kind of.
Everybody said, can you come back?
They want more.
Well, some of us are quite nice and almost house-trained.
So everyone wants
We
to
don't.
do it.
It's what they're not. They're mercenaries. That's how I look at it. Listen, I know what musicians are like. As much as they enjoy it.
Hey, it's a job.
Yeah. The other coach, she's got 6 or 7. Okay, where are you going? Well,
Jesus and the disciples go into a restaurant, and they ask for a table for 26. Not that we're going to serve, but they're going outside, they're only 30 hours. Some people are only 30 hours, but the only like sit on one side of the
just
street.
a brand.
Right, yes.
When are you
You
going
need
to
a break, but you're taking Steve with you.
We ought to be on the Rhine.
Of course.
On the Rhine.
On the wine or the Rhine?
The Rhine.
Yeah,
We
good.
cancel.
No,
No, we cancel.
because I can understand circumstances.
Yeah, we should left on Wednesday. 2 nights in Amsterdam, which would have been
Well, we cancelled, obviously.
We had to, but we understand that.
I've got to do that one here. It's a question of priority.
Yeah, of course. Were you insurance? I know it's...
yes, yeah.
You said you weren't lift.
I can live.
No, it'll hurt you.
Well, thank you then.
That's my
No, because it's not the usual one. It's the
Janet's in charge. I've got no say in anything. So anything involving you, I go through Janet
Too right.
first now. Because
Absolutely.
I can't cope with
You
things.
know your place, Kevin,
Yeah.
for which I am very thankful.
Thank you. Yeah, I like very, yeah.
Right, I put the yard site list back on the bulletin board because it could get lost again here.
There's only one more.
Yeah, but we don't want to get lost between today and tomorrow.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's safe up there.
So I might take it from the
Sorry?
Somebody might take it from the cold.
I doubt
But
it.
it gets lost.
If they're that desperate, they'll have to keep it.
Apparently it's not, because
No, because it's at the beginning.
Oh,
You going tonight?
That's
no, I haven't. Yeah.
it's not enough to do 15 years.
Well, if you're all ready,
Yep.
Yep.
let's begin on page 437. 437.
Israel,
Adonai ahavti ma'on betecha, umkom mishkan kevodecha, ani eshtacha evracha lifnei Adonai osi. Va'ani tefilati lacha Adonai et ratzon, Elohim barov chasdecha, aneni ve'emet yishecha. Please be seated. My heart is ready, O God, my heart is ready. I will sing praises. Awake, O my soul, awake, O harp and lyre. I will arouse the dawn. I will give thanks to you, O God, among the peoples, and sing your praises among the nations. For your love is high as the heavens, your faithfulness reaches to the clouds. And let's turn over to page 441. Let standing corn grow ripe as dewdrops bring their blessing, food for the hungry and healing for the sick.
Let the dead vines be draped with great blossoms, as heaven yield their dew.
Let oases drip with plenty and hills be wrapped in gladness, dressed with flowers as in the colors of spring.
Singing your great goodness, as the heavens yield their dew.
Let the trees God made be fed on valley and hill, the granaries be filled with grain, the vats with wine and oil.
Let every village be joyous and safe, as the heavens yield their dew.
Let those who spend themselves in the study of our faith shine bright as stars. You feed the hungry soul, the dry and empty heart.
And live with delight, as the heavens yield their dew.
Send your sweet breeze to renew our life, restore to its ancient glory the land of our heritage.
You who are good to all, let the time of redemption come, renew our life.
The God and God of our ancestors, as dew descends.
Let light illumine the earth, let blessing restore the earth, let joy and gladness abound on the earth, let sorrow sound on the earth, let life revive the earth, and with goodness and sustenance do the rest.
And let's turn over to 453. 453. Turn over to 456 and please stand. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach,
Let's be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Ameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim. Uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam b'chochma asita. V'laharetz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha. Va'al me'orei or she'asita. Yefa'arucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai. Yotzer ha'me'orot. Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to hold the truths of your Torah. Open our eyes to your teaching, and make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We praise you, O God. In love you called your people to serve you. And let's stand. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha V'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh Asher Anochi Mitzavacha Hayom Al Levavecha V'shinantam Levanecha V'divarta Bam V'shivtecha B'veitecha Uv'leftecha B'derech U'shavtecha Uv'kumecha Uv'shartam La'ot Al Yadecha V'hayu Totafot Beinenecha Uv'tavtam Mizazot Beitecha Uv'isharecha. Let's be seated. V'yashar v'kayam v'tov v'yafeh ha'davar hazeh aleinu le'olam va'ed Elohei olam mokeinu Sur Yaakov mageni shenu Mimitzrayim ga'atanu Adonai Eloheinu Mibeit avadim peditanu Moshe Miriam u'vnei Yisrael echa'anu shira b'simcha rabba Ve'amru chulam sang to your name at the shore of the sea. With one accord they gave thanks and proclaimed your sovereignty.
Baruch atah
Adonai Sipatai Titach Rufi Agit Milatecha. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'Nehem, L'ma'an Shmo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, L'chaim Etim Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh U'Morid HaTal, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, L'chaim Etim B'Rachamim Ravim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Holim, Umatir Asurim, Kayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umi Domelach, Melech Meimitu Chaye Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atala HaChayot Meitim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Michaye HaMeitim. We revere and sanctify you, even as in the prophet's vision, the seraphim sanctify you in the temple. As it is written, they call to one another and proclaimed.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth, Haaretz
Adonai Adonenu, Moadir Shimcha B'chol Haaretz. Komohu Yifen Barachamim, Yachon Am Ham Yachadim. Shmoelet Baboker B'chol Yom Tamid Pa'amayim B'hava Shma Rim.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad Hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Hu Yashmienu, Barachamav Shenit Le'enei Kol Chai. Divrei Kodshecha Katuv Le'mor. Vador Vador Nagid Godlecha, Unetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nakdish, V'shivtecha Eloheinu Mikinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And let's be seated. You have given us a special task among the peoples. In your love and favor you have sanctified us by your commandments, drawn us near to your service, and charged us to make known your great and holy name. In your love, eternal Lord our God, you've given us feasts of joy and seasons of gladness. Among them, this festival of unleavened bread, season of our freedom, to unite us in worship and in remembrance of the Exodus from Egypt. Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu, Ya'alev Ya'avov Yizacher Zichronenu, V'zichron kol Amacha Beit Yisrael lefanecha, L'tova v'livracha, l'chaim u'shalom b'yom chag hamatzot hazeh. Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letovah, this day remembers her well-being. Ufokdeinu bo levracha, bless us with your presence. V'hoshienu vo lechaim, grant us continued life. Grant, eternal God, that our observance of the festivals may bring us blessing, happiness, and joy. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. And grant, eternal God, that the happiness of the festivals may be with us always. We praise you, O God, you hallowed Israel and the festivals. With say Adonai Eloheinu Barucha Yisrael, Utfilatam b'havat tekabel, Util ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha, yira na'avod, modim anachnu lach. Sha'atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur chayenu magen yishenu, atahu ledor v'ador. Nodeh lecha unseper tilatecha, al chayenu hamizurim biyadecha, v'al nishmotenu hapukudot lach, v'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha, shebechol eit erev ha'boker v'tzohrayim, Baruch atah Adonai, Atov Shimcha Ulecha Na'el Lehodot. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Barucheinu b'bracha hamshuleshet haktuva b'Torah. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Grant peace, welfare, blessing, grace, love, and mercy to us and to all Israel, your people. As a loving parent, bless us with the light of your presence. For by the light of your presence, eternal God, you reveal to us the law of life. Love of kindness, righteousness, blessing, mercy, life, and peace. For it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. We read together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'halel. Judah became God's sanctuary. The sea looked and fled. The mountains skipped like rams. What makes you flee, O sea? O mountains, why do you skip like rams? Tremble, O earth, before the Eternal One, who turns the rock into a pool of water. Let's turn over to page 474. In my distress I cried out to God. God is with me, I'm not afraid.
What can you do?
With God as my helper,
I can face any foe.
it is better to take refuge in God than to rely on human beings.
It is better to take refuge in God than to rely on human power,
God is my strength and my shield.
and has become my salvation.
Hear glad songs of triumph in the tents of the righteous.
Eternal One does mighty deeds.
God's power is supreme.
Eternal One does mighty deeds.
I shall not die but live.
Eternal God deeds.
Open for me the gates of righteousness.
Let me get to them and give thanks to God.
This is the gate of the Eternal One.
The righteous shall enter.
Blessed are you who come in God's name. You are my God, and I thank you. And let's turn over to page 497 for our Kriyat Torah L'Chagim. In days to come, the mountain of God's house shall be established as the highest mountain, towering above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. Many peoples will go and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Eternal One, to the house of the God of Jacob, so that we may learn God's ways and walk in God's paths." O house of Israel, come, let us walk by the light of the Eternal One. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God. The Eternal God is one. Let us magnify the Eternal One. Together, let us exalt God's name. traditional reading for this festival morning, seventh day Passover, the final day. And that is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 32 to 40. And in the JPSA, turn over to 1014, and sorry, the Soncino, and the JPSA is on page 281. And basically, we're looking at miracles, and the miracle of the creation, the foundation of this people, is to be compared to the work of creation, and both achieved by the same God, the one God. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah. You have but to inquire about bygone ages that came before you. Ever since God created man on earth, from one end of heaven to the other, has anything as grand as this ever happened, or has its like ever been known? Has any people heard the voice of a God speaking out of a fire as you have, and survived? Or has any God ventured to go and take for himself one nation from the midst of another by prodigious acts, by signs and portents, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm and awesome power, as the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? It has been clearly demonstrated to you that the Lord alone is God, there is none beside you. From the heavens he let you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth he let you see his great fire. And from amidst that fire you heard his words. And because he loved your fathers, he chose their heirs after them. He himself in his great might led you out of Egypt, to drive from your path nations greater and more populous than you, to take you into their land and assign it to you as a heritage, as is still the case. Know therefore this day and keep in mind that the Lord alone is God in heaven above and on earth below. There is no other. Observe his laws and commandments which I enjoin upon you this day, that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may long remain in the land that the Lord your God is assigning to you for all time. Ki sha'alna liyamim rishonim asher hayu lefanecha lemin hayom asher bara Elohim Adam al haaretz umiktzei hashemayim va'ad kitzei hashemayim anihya kadavar hagadol hazeh o hanishama kamo hashama am kol Elohim medaber mitoch hayesh ka'asher shamata Otava Yachi. O Hanisa Elohim Lavo Lakachat Lo Goy Kedem Goy Mikerev Goy V'mosot V'otot V'motim V'milchama V'yad Chazaka Uvizroa Netuya V'moraim Gedolim Kachol Asher Asalechem Adonai Elohechem V'mitzrayim Le'einecha Hareta ladat ki Adonai hu Elohim ein od. Milvado, min hashamayim hishmiacha et kula v'yasreka. Val haaretz heracha et isho hagadola udvarav shamata mitoch ha'ish. V'tachat ki ahav et avatecha. V'yivchar bezaro acharav v'yotziacha b'fanav b'kocho. Hagadol, mi Mitzrayim, lehorish goyim gadolim va'atzumim, mimecha mipanecha. Lehaviacha letet lecha et artzam nachala כיום הזה, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, הארץ מתחתנו, ושמרת את חוקיו ואת מצוותיו אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, אשר ייטב לך ובניך אחריך, למען תאריך ימים על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך כל הימים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Please be seated.
The Haftorah portion this morning is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verses 1 to 12, and then there's a little gap in which explains how we get on to the next bit, which is verse 16 of chapter 12, and that goes on to chapter 12, verse 6. You'll find it in the JPSA Tanakh on page 640, and then it continues on page 642. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratzah b'divreihem haneimarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'b'Moshe abdo u'b'Yisrael amo u'b'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. But a shoot shall grow out of the stump of Jesse, a twig shall sprout from his stalk. The Spirit of the Lord shall alight upon him, a spirit of wisdom and insight, a spirit of counsel and valor, a spirit of devotion and reverence for the Lord. He shall sense the truth by his reverence for the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes behold, nor decide by what his ears perceive. Thus he shall judge the poor with equity, and decide with justice for the lowly of the land. He shall strike down a land with the rod of his mouth, and slay the wicked with the breath of his lips. Justice shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his waist. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard lie down with the kid, the calf, the beast of prey, and the fatling together, with a little boy to herd them. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion, like the ox, shall eat straw. A babe shall play over a viper's hole, and an infant pass his hand over an adder's den. In all of my sacred mount nothing evil or vile shall be done. For the land shall be filled with devotion to the Lord as water covers the sea. In that day the stock of Jesse that has remained standing shall become a standard to peoples. Nations shall seek his counsel, and his abode shall be honored. In that day my Lord will apply his hand again to redeeming the other part of his people from Assyria, as also from Egypt, Pathros, Nubia, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the coastlands. He will hold up a signal to the nations, and assemble the banished of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And we turn over and continue on page 642. Thus there shall be a highway for the other part of his people out of Assyria, such as there was for Israel when it left the land of Egypt. In that day you shall say, I give thanks to you, O Lord. Although you were wroth with me, your wrath has turned back, and you comfort me. Behold, the Lord who gives me triumph. I am confident, unafraid, for Yah, the Lord, is my strength and might, and he has been my deliverance. Joyfully shall you draw water from the fountains of triumph, and you shall say on that day, Praise the Lord, proclaim his name, make his deeds known among the peoples, declare that his name is exalted, hymn the Lord, for he has done gloriously. Let this be made known in all the world. O shout for joy, you who dwell in Zion, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. Al HaTorah, Va'al HaAvodah, Va'al HaNevi'im, Va'al Yom Chag HaMatzot Hazeh, Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, לששון ולשמחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש ישראל והזמנים.
Page 500, and do we have a reader for the first paragraph?
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
And a prayer for the community, Janet?
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter the synagogue to meet, to study and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us, and heal those in anxiety or pain. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will.
And I'm just wondering, how is Mark doing this week?
I know this afternoon we're going to see him.
Okay. Hope it's good. And that the last few days, which you've enjoyed, I think Passover Seder, but carry on.
It's that they continue.
Yeah, one step at a time. Also very aware that one of our previous rabbis, Rabbi Harry Jacobi, passed away on Wednesday morning. He was 93. Pretty good innings. And he served this community between 1975 and 1982. And I've already written to Margaret and to Richard, and also put something on the Liberal Judaism website. There's a book of memory about Harry. And also, you may have heard that the father of Mark Phillips has passed away, Malcolm, after a long illness. And would any of you like to mention anyone else?
Yes, a friend called Julie of Esther's and mine, who is very seriously ill with pancreatic cancer. Very seriously.
Yeah, strength.
Shall I read the last paragraph?
Please.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbours, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki nisgav shema levado. Let us praise the Eternal One, whose name alone is exalted. Its fruits are better than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies, and no treasure can compare with it. Behold, a good doctrine has been given you, do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Please be seated. So the Exodus story, whether it all really happened like it says historically or not, it doesn't matter. And you know I've said that many times. That's not the point. There are truths about human behavior, and especially so following trauma. The behavior of the group is deeply affected. Their fears and anxieties, their struggle to be free in their hearts, how they behave nastily or nicely towards each other within the tribe. And here we see in the Exodus story the obsession with who is in and who is not. Purity. And in part of the Sidra, which is for this weekend, in Leviticus, who's in and who's out is partly determined and expressed in terms of sexual behavior and rigid values. Well, I've been reading this week one of the best books I've read in months. I don't know if you know it, but it's by Anna Burns. It's called Milkman. It won the Booker Prize for 2018. And the subject is Northern Ireland, a place that struggles, and even now more so, to be free internally, and the relationships between the peoples. We have trauma. There is the ubiquity of loss. Every family has suffered. The hatred of across the road, the wrong bus stop, and outwardly there are racist fears. But this book is most of all about what people do to each other within the tribe in this traumatic setting. And I just want to share a couple of bits and offer some comments. And one of the things that is absolutely beautiful about this book is the use of language, of code. And one of the key things, as in Torah, is about the making up of names. And those of you that have read James Joyce over the years, there's a lot of making up of names in that text as well. So here's the very beginning. And the narrator is a young woman. And I'll tell you a little bit more about her in due course, but not too much. The day somebody put a gun to my breast and called me a cat and threatened to shoot me was the same day the milkman died. He had been shot by one of the state hit squads, and I did not care about the shooting of this man. Others did care, though, and some were those who, in the parlance, knew me to see, but not to speak to. And I was being talked about because there was a rumor started by them, or more likely by first brother-in-law, that I had been having an affair with this milkman, and that I was 18 and he was 41. I knew his age, not because he got shot and it was given by the media, but because there had been talk before this, for months before the shooting, by these people of the rumor that 41 and 18 was disgusting. The 23 years difference was disgusting. That he was married and not to be fooled by me, for there were plenty of quiet, unnoticeable people who took a bit of watching. It had been my fault too, it seemed, this affair with the milkman. But I had not been having an affair with the milkman. I did not like the milkman, and had been frightened and confused by his pursuing and attempting an affair with me. And let's think a bit more about this self-policing, the rumors, the hearsay. And she's a very bright young lady. She loves to read, and she reads while she's walking. And this milkman has stalked her, and all these rumors have started, but she's done nothing. She writes about the intense nosiness about everybody. And this had always existed in the area. Gossip washed in, washed out, came, went, moved on to the next target. And that's what people do to each other in this situation of no freedom. So, there are ground rules. At the time, age 18, having been brought up in a hair-trigger society where the ground rules were, if no physically violent touch was being laid upon you, and no outright verbal insults were being leveled at you, and no taunting looks in the vicinity either, then nothing was happening. So how could you be under attack from something that wasn't there? At 18, I had no proper understanding of the ways that constituted encroachment. I had a feeling for them, an intuition, a sense of repugnance for some situations and some people. But I did not know intuition and repugnance counted. Did not know that I had a right not to like, not to have to put up with anybody and everybody coming near. So, a young woman, vulnerable, and things so far beyond her understanding. She has a boyfriend, somebody she calls maybe boyfriend, because her parents don't know, and she doesn't feel a sense of commitment, but they do spend time together. And he's obsessed with cars, and he had a very difficult relationship within his family, and his parents just left the country. They left Northern Ireland. He was left with this house and lives in this house, and this house is completely covered with car parts, and she often goes there, but he wants to acquire another place which is in the little area which is known as the red light district, where mixed couples live and where prostitutes hang out. And this is a no-go area. And she doesn't want to go there, but she doesn't know what she wants. And he's obsessed with cars, and he comes into some bits of a Bentley engine. And in the eyes of friends and others, the Bentley represents the Englishness and control. So they're on the Catholic side. So to have these Bentley motor car bits that may not even say Bentley on them, that places you as a traitor. Even though he's just going to work on them himself. Everything represents something. And she writes, and this is the time during the Troubles. These were paranoid times. These were knife-edge times, primal times, with everybody suspicious of everybody. You could have a nice, wee conversation with someone here, then go away and think, that was nice. That was a nice, wee, unguarded conversation I just had there. At least until you start playing it back in your head later on. And at that point, you start to worry that you said this or that, not because this or that were contentious. It was the people were quick to point fingers, to judge, to add on even in peaceful times. So it would be hard to fathom fingers not getting pointed and words not being added. Also being judged in these turbulent times, resulting to not in having your feelings hurt upon discovering others were talking about you, as in having individuals in balaclavas and Halloween masks, guns at the ready, turning up in the middle of the night at your door. And basically, if someone was determined, they can make an argument out of anything. So, this is within the Catholic side, and we see an extreme kind of self-policing and rumors and hearsay about anything that anybody wants to say about anything or anybody. I would say that in Israel, in our collective trauma, we've allowed ourselves to be manipulated, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has won again. A master campaigner, the man will do anything to stay in office. He's stoked Israelis' darkest fears. He's appealed to racist demons, fear of the outside, and undermined the pillars of Israel's, at this point, incomplete democracy. to fend off charges of total corruption. And so, the fear of the inside, the opponents have been demonized as traitors, as self-hating Jews. And as you know, I read about all this on a daily basis in Haaretz and from other Israeli sources. Now, an extraordinary opportunity has come up. It's as good as it gets, but very risky. And this has to do with my involvement in EcoPeace. And as in this story, within traumatized and often hateful societies, the personal safety of individuals are at risk, and backlash on all sides can be enormous. But, as I always say, we just have to keep chipping away. 2 weeks ago, the Germans, who have the presidency of the Security Council of the United Nations at the moment, invited the EcoPeace directors, Gidon, Nada, and Yana, to speak at the United Nations, at the Security Council. And this will be on Monday morning. At our International Advisory Committee meeting with Yana and Nader, which took place in my home just a couple of weeks ago, and Gidon connected by Skype, we discussed for nearly 4 hours the opportunities and risks of this event. Each director has taken top-level advice at home. In the end, we just have to keep chipping away at this imprisonment, as it were, in each of the societies. And we have to keep chipping away for peace and freedom and hope. And if not, we remain enslaved. And one day, if we do get through all of this somehow, and there is a just and safe peace, perhaps something analogous to the Good Friday Agreement, there might just be a work of great literature from within the Israeli and or Palestinian sides about what the conflict, the occupation did to people on each side within their societies and what they did to each other. And perhaps Anna Burns and this book that she's written about the micro-interactions will serve as a kind of Torah, an influence on that awakening and that path towards real freedom in the future. Amen.
In our little circle, we pray all year for rain and for dew. But traditionally we start praying for rain on Shmini Atzeret and for dew on Pesach, actually first day Pesach. So we're gonna sing part of Ursula Rosenblatt's Tfilat Tal, the prayer for dew.
Let's
Let's turn over to page 520 and please stand for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula v'yotzer b'reishit, asher sam chalkeinu li'ached et shemo, l'gor aleinu l'hamlich malchuto. Moshav Yekaro b'shamayim ma'al, u'shchinat zobeg of Haman, hu Eloheinu einad, emet malkeinu efesulato kakatu b'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, kelnai huluim b'shamayim ma'al, v'haretz mitachat ein. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your light, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule. When all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever. As in their higher moments they themselves sought to live. We remember our loved ones now, for they remain in our hearts, and they are a continual blessing. And I'll mention once again the name Rabbi Harry Jacoby, and also Malcolm Phillips. And would anyone like to add the name of a loved one or friend?
I'd like to mention my brother died 10 years today.
Yours?
10 years, Mum, Sandra,
Oh, yes.
10 years today.
She's strength. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrah te'utei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'gala v'zman kari v'imru amen Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei l'mayah Yitzbarak v'yishtabak v'yitfrar v'yitermam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei v'kudeshav b'reichu Le'elam in kal birchata v'ashirata, tishmachata v'nechamata, damnan balma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shavaya, v'chayim aleinu yal kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu yal kol Yisrael, yal kol b'nei adam, v'imru amen. And let's be seated. And we have a Sa'enai. Is that on 197?
180.
180.
Holy
Final day of Pesach? Yes. We'll keep all that. I don't but the gluten-free ones have also given me a huge amount of trouble this year. So I've had very little this year. Maybe it's good for losing weight.
They're quite, I don't know where they are downstairs, but they don't look like they're going to finish for a while, so...
Can you kind of check where they are, Kev, and people can decide what they want to do when they stay or go?
I think I need to go because we're going away for the weekend.
Keep that separate.
I mean, the other day we had to wait for half an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
That is not...
And even then, Kathleen Catformas. She left something out, yeah.
So I'm having lunch with Mark Bannister.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
Very nice. Please give him my that.
I will. Haven't seen him in ages. He's a dear.
He's been seeing Michael.
Yeah, he's a dear friend.
Yeah.
What's the story, Kev?
Well, the guy put 5 minutes up. Last Saturday put 10 minutes up, and that ended up being something like 20, so... Your guess is as good as mine. They're on Kaddish.
Oh. They're not going to have an additional Yizkor or
I don't
anything
know.
like that?
I don't know whether it's you've got one. Are we doing things from
That was a hell of an ad.
Yeah, there's going to be a service here as far as I know. She's doing some ritual and I'm doing some studying.
Okay, so
But the publicity is being
I just like
contradictory.
the prayer.
So that they know that I'm doing some study.
Geshem and Tal prayers.
Prepared.
Big prayers.
So you may want to
It's a
work
nice
this
pagan.
Okay,
I like, and I think we should.
It's a short one.
It's lovely what they're doing.
I just got mental and stuff for my own.
Otherwise you get bored with something.
Yeah, I think that's the.
No, I think it's just
true. Yeah.
Wish you better, Frank.
Yeah, I've had it for about 3 weeks.
Oh,
Brazil.
there is apparently controversy over the correct
Traveling.
punctuation in I will lift up mine eyes. Should it be, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help coming, from whence cometh my help, question mark, or I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. Yes.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yes. And the jury's out on that one, I think.
It's nice to have the choice. Thank you very much for that service, Frank. It was very meaningful. And when you said about Northern Ireland, for some reason I don't know the response.
He's allowed to mix it up sometimes, right?
No, I get very excited. No, we haven't got about the electronic.
Oh, the conference of organized.
Yes.
I thought I replied.
Ah,
Just get in touch with the college office.
I think that's best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it all? It's all day.
Yeah, it's like 9:30 to.
Yeah. The thing is that the names caught my eye because what's her name? I think it's the I remember once I went with her on the awards show. She is a remarkable person. I've got her book, Misunderstood Jew.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we've got her coming.
Yes, I like that name of mine. And also Gershon Simmons is coming.
Yeah, he's not speaking, but he's coming. She'll be speaking. And speaking of Northern Ireland, my pal Lord Alderdice
Yes, I know
is.
his name.
He's going to be with us the whole day.
Excellent.
At this time, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people often don't come. I think Kevin
We
decided
got
not
somebody
to
from
get.
Germany.
Did you get anyone? What happened last time?
And who you know, Alexander Zemke's coming, your friend.
Good.
And we've got we've got a fabulous
I
lineup.
shall definitely be in touch with the
Yeah.
college.
But Evelyn Friedlander, who I forgot to mention, is very, very ill.
Oh, I'm
Is
so
she?
sorry
Yeah.
to hear that.
Very
Is this
ill.
recent?
It's been brewing for a long time, but everything's coming together.
Sorry.
I should have mentioned her name in the service,
I'm glad
but
you mentioned it.
it's not good. And I just hope she's going to be able to make this conference, because the college has done nothing to remember Albert. Nothing. So, yeah, he was one of my mentors, and I've had this idea for a long time, and
Managed to make it happen.
yep.
They finished downstairs, apparently.
Oh.
Great.